As the summer tourism season winds down and takes a short break before the important few weeks of fall foliage, the Manchester Business Association has announced it has forged a working agreement with the Bennington Area Chamber of Commerce. The Memorandum of Understanding will allow MBA members to become Chamber of Commerce members at a discounted rate. The Chamber will also help staff the MBA's Visitor Center in Manchester. We talked with the MBA's president, Paul W. Carocchio, about what this means for the organization in Manchester.
The idea was just to work to combine forces and not waste energy on going and encouraging the business community of Manchester to participate independently in both organizations. We came up with this consolidation where we can help the chamber and they can help us. Our help is that we can work with the Manchester business community to bring them to the chamber and benefit from the regional resources that the chamber has. And in turn, the chamber can help us by bringing state-funded labor into the visitor center, which has been one of our struggles to get local volunteers to participate in covering the visitor center hours. So it was kind of a win-win, as opposed to us going to the business community here and saying we need money to pay for someone in the visitor center, which would cost us more. We were able to negotiate a lower rate membership for MBA members to have membership into the Bennington Chamber and benefit from all of what they provide on a regional basis, and then in turn those monies would be used to subsidize the staffing costs of the Manchester Visitor Center. So that was pretty simple, actually. It took us a lot longer than it probably should have to get to a simple, real deal. And I think there'll be more things. This is kind of the first test of how we can work together and bring the MBA's sort of rifled approach of marketing the Manchester brand and coexisting with the regional approach of the Bennington Chamber, and even further out, there's probably something we should do along with some of the other regions. I mean, we're not just in our region overlaps 3 counties as far as what feeds Manchester's businesses. When you've got the ski areas in different counties, you've got Paulet and the Danby region or towns which are very close to us in different counties. So it's just the beginning of starting to figure that all out.
It's been a fairly good summer for local businesses that cater to tourist traffic, several have said. We talked with Melissa Weeks of Heinel's Clothiers about what her takeaway on the summer season has been. An increased number of special events, like the recently concluded Bluegrass Festival, have provided a boost, she said.
Well, I think any additional collaboration or getting the word out there is going to be a plus, no matter what. So I think it's a good thing that we're collaborating and kind of boosting each other up. I think that the Manchester Business Association has been doing a great job with bringing additional events. The IVT Fest was a big success. It was a success for me. It was like I had 2 Columbus Day weekends. This Green Mountain Bluegrass Festival brought people in. I've had a very busy, successful summer. I'm up over last year. So I would encourage them to kind of come up with more special events. And also, maybe consider like the Street Fest. I do really well staying open during the Street Fest. If we could do a few more events where we stay open that night, I think, just like one-time events that we can advertise. I think that would also bring in extra income. Otherwise, I think we're moving down a really good path, and I've seen results for sure. Probably the only other thing I would add would be increased social media. That's where I get my feedback. People come in and say they saw, Instagram, Facebook posts that I've done, and that really has brought them in.
Earlier, the town also finalized an agreement with the MBA, which turns over $50,000 in matching funds from the local option tax fund, which will be used to promote Manchester as a destination for travelers and tourists. This money had been approved at last March's town meeting. $20,000 of that will be set aside to support the ITV Fest, which made its local debut last year and will be returning for a second time in October, shortly after Columbus Day. At a meeting of the Manchester Select Board earlier in August, Carocchio updated the board on some of the headway made so far and some of the other possible outcomes that might lie ahead. At a forum held the following week at the Taconic Hotel, Carocchio noted that the local option tax revenues for 2017 were more than 5% higher than those for 2016, and the early numbers for 2018 were continuing to show an increase over the comparable time period for the year before, in 2017. Lodging occupancy rates were also rising, and on the real estate front, houses were selling faster and prices were edging up, signs of a strengthening market. Matt Harrington, the executive director of the Bennington Area Chamber, said he was looking forward to the enhanced partnership with the NBA, which has been a work in progress for a while, almost since the former Manchester and the Mountains Chamber of Commerce closed its doors back in April of 2016.
This is a great first step in the idea that, and it'll be coming out in an article that I'll write soon, let the bygones be just that, be by and gone. That I think the things that made up our differences in the past, I think we've learned from that. We've learned that as a separate communities, we are not nearly as strong as when we come together as a full southern tier, as a full Shires of Vermont. So I think that this is a great first step. We have challenges. I would employ all of us to look at not the challenges between each other. I would say we've got some major economic business challenges in southern Vermont. And so that revolves around tourism and getting people here. It involves taxes, it involves our lodging and restaurants, it involves the awareness of the region, it involves everything. If you start to dip down in here, poverty, education, you can go along the list. So, in a sense, I would encourage anybody, let's stop the infighting. And I think that this partnership is a great example of really progressive leaders getting to the table and saying the things of the past between Manchester and Bennington, or whatever it happens to be, need to be laid to rest because we've got bigger challenges that we're facing.
For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.